And you had to be reasonably confident to do extra races because you still only got one lowest score dropped, and we are off, and they're both starting in Link's house and finding the Book of Medora.
And quick map check, I saw a crystal on Hera, I thought it was a 6, and
Yeah,
a 1 on Eastern. I didn't see Desert.
I didn't catch Desert either. I was just going to confirm that, yes, it was a 6 crystal on Hera.
All right. So that book doesn't open up too much, but we'll have to see what Desert is. Looks like our tracker has marked that also as a crystal. We'll have to confirm at the next map check.
That is a very nice tree pull for the runners, filling up their bomb inventory completely.
With 10 bombs, either one could do escape, having enough weapons to go through. Looks like Fatboy is not yet done here with escape, but Zero Rush not opting to do escape this early.
Well, they also have enough bombs to easily do all the checks in Kakariko without having to go out and buy any.
Or, as Zero Rush is showing us, may do South Shore.
That's true, you can go through Mini Moldorm Cave that way. So, Zero Rush is finding 50 rupees there in the dam. Fatboy's taking a more traditional route out towards the Lost Woods.
Skipping the lumberjack check for now, so he, will eventually find out if it is or isn't an Aga seed, but not so concerned about it at this point.
Yeah, a lot of runners don't want to think about it until they have the boots.
Just a lonely arrow up in the mushroom spot in the Lost Woods.
Not too much money so far this seed, not that they've done that many checks. I guess it really depends what's in Kakariko.
Yeah, we've got Kakariko, and then this Mini Moldorm cave also has, 5 checks in it. So, given what either runner finds, we could see a huge divergence here if they find items that lead them in wildly different paths. Not so for Zero Rush, just finding some money, but does find the lantern in Mini Moldorm.
Yeah, that final chest, just as I was starting to think it was a bust.
Fatboy finding a bust himself in the blind hut in Kakariko. Headed towards the back, we'll see what he gets here. And that was a 5 crystal on Desert Palace. So both 5-6 crystals in the Light World.
So we could potentially, depending on item placement, see a very early Pyramid Fairy check. Especially between the book and the lamp, we just need a weapon and Desert's full clearable, potentially, depending whether it's boost locked or not.
We'll still need a glove to get back to the boss, but that glove, we're going to get it eventually.
All right, good point.
So far, Kakariko not holding a lot for us. And Zero headed in the opposite end of the map, headed towards Eastern Palace. Going to check Sahasrahla, and we'll see if he ends up dipping Eastern this early without a bow. If he doesn't find one, he's going to commit to a double dip. So he is headed back into the Eastern Palace. Let's see what he finds. There are 3 items back there. Grace Game just having some money. So really not a whole lot in Kakariko. Not a whole lot on Zero Rush's end aside from that lantern so far.
Yeah, chat's saying desert may be the play, which is true because at a bare minimum you get 1 check in there. And that 1 check could be key.
Yeah, you mentioned it could be key. It could very well be the glove, and a glove and a weapon in the front, and you can go clear it. Would not be a bad play to do that.
So far we haven't really seen much in Eastern.
Not a whole lot across the board, so very slowly we are kind of narrowing down in the desert area. So could be Agina, could be that first check in Desert Palace as well. I don't believe we've seen Ice Cave either. Ice Rod Cave.
No, we haven't. And of course we haven't seen the rest of Escape. We've just seen Uncle in the chest near him.
That's right. So still plenty of checks to do. It could be some progression leading us somewhere else. There will be some progression somewhere, of course.
Oh, chat's saying Zero Rush checked Ice Rod.
Well, nothing in Eastern, just a compass in that big chest.
So our item, and we're not going to see it for a while.
Well, we are going to get this desert check. Fatboy headed over towards the desert area.
Yeah, and Desert Ledge is also obtainable if that winds up being important, regardless of the layout of Desert Palace.
First stop, Agina's Cave.
I'm betting bombs.
It's always bombs. Well, almost always. 50 rupees today. So Zero...
Now...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say now Zero Rush is going to find that there really wasn't much to be had in Kakariko.
I was going to say the exact same thing. He's going to find a big load of nothing but maybe some rupees and a couple of bombs. So logically, the only checks we have, and I don't remember if we saw ledge as Fatboy entered Desert Palace, but this is really all we have left at this point of the game.
Well, chat's pointing out that since they already have the key for escape, the back of escape is accessible necessarily even without the glove.
That's the second time I've forgotten that escape is accessible there. We did find a hook, so there's a little bit of something coming out of this seed so far.
But it does mean that the rest of desert is boots locked.
Indeed, not finding a big key or a small key in that first chest means there's going to be something on the torch to get you further.
Well, the hook would open up a huge amount of Death Mountain because that would even be in logic with the lamp. And yes, that's also true, as chat's pointing out. Given that the runners don't have a weapon yet, the fact that they can at least stun enemies with the hook makes escape a lot better.
Yeah, they will give some knowledge as they can check the stun prize. But also to note, it will make the Death Mountain trip a little bit easier when we can get to it. There's still no glove and there's still no flute, so really starting to feel squeezed in this seed. It's going to be the front of escape or the back of escape. That's where everything's hiding. We've seen everything else.
Yeah, I guess that really is everything. There aren't all that many Sphere 1 checks when it comes down to it.
Still nothing but a boomerang.
Is that a vanilla boomerang?
That's actually a French vanilla, if you prefer that term. I think but the first chest there is the map chest.
Okay, I couldn't. Which one had the boomerang normally?
Yeah, this second chest behind this green and blue guard, that will be the vanilla boomerang chest. But today it has a cape.
Well, so, just need Master Sword now, and we can do Aga.
Yeah, we've got two pieces. We've got the lamp, we have the cape. Even a fighter sword with that cape would get us in.
Yeah, just as you were saying fighter sword, I realized that, right, the cape eliminates the need for Master Sword.
I'll still take a Master Sword.
Yeah, I mean, the enemies in Aga Tower are a pain with the fighter sword.
Ooh. So there's flippers. There's a little bit more of a progression item. That opens up Hobo and the Waterfall and Zora once they find the money.
And Zora Ledge while we're at it.
Indeed.
But if I'm Zero Rush with the lamp, I would personally try the back first.
Absolutely. You're here, you have the key, so you can get to the back.
Fatboy realizing Eastern was a bust.
Kind of seems to be the theme for the first sphere. It's a bust, it's a bust, it's a bust. And then the door just kind of inches open on this seed once you find one item. Oh, looked like a bottle in the Dark Cross chest.
So we're getting all these incremental checks now.
Zero making his way to the back, bombing that wall. Gonna get 3 items here. I think one might be the map. I don't think we've seen that yet. There it is, the third chest in the back.
And red stuff in the other 2. So I'm guessing he'll do the flipper checks now, well, especially since he respawned at Link's house and not at Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Which is where he'd spawn if he wanted Sick Kid.
Yeah, better to do these checks than to go to Sick Kid for just a one-off check. Now, Zero has not been to Desert, so he's still lacking that hook shot. Fatboy at least picking that one up.
Right, depending what he finds on these checks, that could make a difference. Just some lunch money from Hobo, though. He didn't actually look at what was on Lake Hylia Island, did he?
I believe it was only 5 rupees.
Oh, okay, I thought he had gone around right both times.
But there's a moon pearl in the waterfall. So not a total loss here yet. We're still finding some small incremental items. Now, I gotta
pointing
say,
Aga, though.
yeah, with the items we have, if I find a sword, I am headed straight for Aga. There's no fooling around here.
But it could be on Zora, and neither of our runners are anywhere close to Zora money. And short of Zora, the only other thing is Sick Kid.
That's right. Zero Rush, the only one with the bottle. Fatboy gonna pick it up along the way. But yeah, Zora and Sick Kid, the only 2 in logic checks, the only 2 checks, period. One of them has to have progression, or both. Question in chat, it has to be an Aga seed. It's likely, but if they find a flute, they could still go up to the mountain, and there's a few checks up there. They could, find something that gets them around Aga, or pushes them a little bit further away.
Or all the more so with a glove, they could get up the mountain. We could also, find the bow, which would get us to Armos Knights, and they could have something on them.
Yeah, it's just whatever the next item is. I mean, what a stingy seed.
I wonder if either runner will try to Houlihan. Because they're a long way from Zora money otherwise, and if Zora has our only progression, they're going to need that money.
So here's going to be Zero Rush's hook shot.
Oh yeah, we still aren't sure one way or the other whether Zero Rush actually did Ice Rod Cave. Though I would have thought if he hadn't done it, he would have done it while he was checking the Lake Hylia area.
Well, Fatboy looks like he's headed straight there, so I think we'll get it regardless.
Zero Rush taking a slightly unusual route to Sick Kid.
No, I think he was trying to find a few bombs off of those bushes.
Oh. Oh yeah, he's out of bombs.
Just a big 20 in the Ice Rod Cave. So let's see what's on Sick Kid. And if it's not on Sick Kid, these guys have to farm some money, and we're in for a little bit of a wait for them to grind out that money.
Yeah, because with the flippers, they can't do the easiest Houlihan, which means they probably need bombs for it. Zero Rush just bought bombs.
That's the way to do it. Sick Kid check. Just 20 bucks. Wow, so we are gated by Zora. Now, I've seen some funny things in this tournament so far. I've not seen nowhere to go but Zora and have no money.
Yeah, this has been a very impoverished seed. We haven't seen any hundreds or 300s and only like 150, I think, even.
While either of these guys were in Desert Palace, did either of them check the torch, or did they just get the hook shot and get out of there?
I think they can both infer that there must be a key on the torch, and at this point it doesn't matter whether it's a small key or a big key.
Actually, you're right. Finding an item in that middle chest means there has to be a key. So what would be the quickest way really to get some money here? Now you mentioned Houlihan can't do one trick because they have the flippers. They can't do another trick in the graveyard because they don't have the gloves.
Right, and I think I'm trying to remember where the other Houlihan entrances are because, yeah, Graveyard and next to the water are the two popular places to do it. But yeah, you either need to have the glove or not have the flippers.
And neither case here. So they're gonna go to blind, and they're gonna start farming these 5 rupee pieces off of these pots. I've never seen anything like this.
Oh, right, because even the popular rupee farming place is glove locked. So they can't farm rupees near Gary.
All right. Well, Fatboy in the lead here with 343 rupees, and Zero Rush catching up at 304. So one of these, Fatboy's going to make it there first. But after they go to Zora, what do you think is going to be there?
I mean, statistically speaking, I would say sword is the most likely. I guess glove, bow, and flute are the only other possibilities.
How about a shovel?
Or a mushroom.
Or bow. So the only possible
I mentioned bow.
Yeah, you did. So bow, mushroom, could have a shovel and a sword, or a flute.
Oh yeah,
That's
chat's mentioning boots too. That would open up Bonk Rocks and the rest of desert.
All right, well, get your guesses in chat for what you think it's going to be.
The rest of the front of desert, I should say, since we still can't go to the back without a glove. Only 3 more cycles through by Fatboy before he'll have enough money for Zora.
Oh, chat is already coming up with their evil scenarios. Fetch quest into progression, into fetch quest, into progression.
And if it's boots, will our next progression be in Bonk Rocks or desert?
Now, I kind of want to go back and see at what point, at what time these two started coming in, because they've been going at this for quite a while, and I'm wondering, does each other feel like the other runner is doing the exact same thing?
Well, they know if the other runner somehow has more rupees, they must have gotten it through some level tree pull or something, because they both know there weren't any big rupee cash prizes in chests. I don't think we've seen all levels of tree pull. I mean, it would be kind of hard since the only way they can kill enemies right now is with bombs. But Fatboy has finally gotten his 500. Does the extra 3-second save and quit, which is a prevent of locking up glitch from happening by them putting in that lag, but now the runners have to, deal with the fact that they have an extra 3 seconds every time they save and quit.
All right, this will be also the last cycle for Zero Rush, as he's going to pick up his last 30 and end up with 515, and they're both on their way to Zora. Oh, Ledge only having a piece of heart. All right, last chance. Everyone, tell me what you think it is. It's moment of truth.
Okay, we've got the glove.
Okay.
That opens up Death Mountain, which is 10 checks before we have to worry about progression.
Now, I'm sure there's no way the seed's going to hold out on us for that long again, right? Now we can do, most of Death Mountain, certainly the east side of it, and the inside of Spectacle Rock.
And if they were so inclined, they could break logic and steal a key from the back of Desert to check the right side of the front of Desert to see if the second item was there. Logic, of course, does not account for key theft.
Yeah, I think having spent the last 5 minutes picking up 5 rupees at a time, I wouldn't be one to do that. I don't think either of these runners really feel like spending that time.
Yeah, it's more something they might do if what they get on Death Mountain points them to Aga. Or they could find the hammer on Death Mountain, and then Aga's dead, assuming there's nothing on Lumberjack.
That's right. We did not see a lumberjack check from either of these runners. Kind of inconsequential at this point.
And especially since they now know boots are required because of their visit to desert, might as well wait at this point until you have boots. A nice blue male on top of Spec Rock, which, depending when they get the mirror, they might come for. So progression in either Paradox Cave or Spiral Cave, and of course, we're likely going to see a lovely bootless Spiral Cave, but the hookshot's actually a good weapon to have in that case.
Yeah, you've got the jellies and they'll shock you. But the hookshot will get
Fatboy dead rocked himself.
Ooh, he almost did it again.
And Zero Rush takes a half-second lead.
All right, 7 items here in Paradox Cave. Nothing in the bottom chests.
There's the mirror.
So that gives us access to Tower of Hera and that blue mail that you mentioned.
Yeah, I was trying to think what it gave us besides the blue mail, and oh, of course, Tower of Hera, yeah. Zero Rush doesn't quite land the bomb jump.
So they will take their way down Spiral Cave very slowly, and then they will head back towards the Spectacle Rock area to mirror over to Hera, where there has to be a little bit more progression.
Unless it's in Spiral Cave.
Oh, come on. The seed just gave you the mirror. Don't get greedy.
Yes. The mirror is almost certainly pointing them to Hera, since we already know what's on Spec Rock. Uh-oh. Aga now in logic.
Well, Aga in logic and Moldorm in logic.
True. Tower of Hera is full clearable.
Yep. Now they finally have a weapon to hurt Moldorm with, having that sword. They're both going to do it. They're both going back up.
If they see a hammer in there, they're going to be so relieved.
This is great watching them synced up this closely.
Yeah, how did they get so synced? Because Fatboy definitely got the 500 rupees faster.
So I did see a green pendant, I think, at Thieves Town, and a red pendant at Swamp Palace.
And I believe the blue was at Turtle Rock.
All right, so we've got 2 dungeons, 2 long dungeons potentially, that are pendants. So no need to worry about them until we have to worry about them. Just couch cash on the ether tablet. So Hera it is.
And since they have the hook shot, Zero Rush is going to go for the Hera pot clip. While Fatboy isn't, so we can see which one's faster. Because the thing about the Hera pot clip is it's so precise. You really have to set it up exactly.
So he gets it on his second try. Fatboy did come into Tower of Hera just slightly later, but you can see that Zero Rush already in position to pick up those middle items on this floor. Picking up the cane.
Yeah, they will need that cane eventually, but it doesn't help them now. And that key's kind of a bad thing. Oh, and unfortunately, Fatboy's routing isn't great because now he's going to have to climb up that extra level, and Zero Rush has definitely taken the lead by a better approach for the big chest.
Yeah, this is a great demonstration at just, how much time can actually be saved by learning a trick like Hera pot. Given a few pokes and stabs to Moldorm, Zero Rush takes him down. Fatboy not too far behind him. He found a compass.
So the last item is in Hera Basement, and given that the alternative is Aga, I'm thinking these runners are probably going to take a coffee break.
I think they've more than earned a coffee break on this seed.
Ooh, we got an enraged Moldorm here on Fatboy's side. But he gets him. Zero Rush doesn't want a coffee break, he's using boomerang strats.
No, he's a little bit too amped up from this seed so far, so he doesn't have time to sit around for coffee.
Fatboy taking a more conventional coffee break.
So we'll get to see what our next item is, and if it's nothing, we're going to Aga. It's a bottle. Aga's it.
Unless you want to try stealing a key in Desert Palace as a very last-ditch effort.
Yeah, Zero Rush not gonna play around with that idea. Not today, at least. He's headed right into the castle. We'll see what Fatboy does, but I gotta think that there's such a small chance of something being worthwhile off stealing a key. I've seen it work only very few times.
Yeah, and the alternative is your triple dipping desert for nothing.
Zero Rush pulling out the cane for these ball and chain guards. Now this is a good way to do it, because that fighter sword is still going to take quite a few hits for these guys.
Yeah, I think it's 6 hits with the fighter sword. Now, when our runners eventually go back and do desert, it'll be interesting, assuming they're not in go mode, to see whether it could have bailed them out.
So once they inevitably beat Aga, they'll check Pyramid, but assuming they don't find anything there, the only place they could really start going is the front of Skull Woods or Village of Outcast and Thieves Town.
Or pod and see whether it's bow locked.
I suppose they could do that.
And, you know, they have things on the way like Graveyard Ledge.
Actually, that's right. With the mirror, they could do that. So, despite being, you know, put into a narrow tunnel at 42 minutes into the seed, this could open up and we could see some divergence once they hit the Dark World.
Meanwhile, in case anyone wants to guess, how many blue balls do we think Aga will shoot today? It must be an integer from 0 to 15.
I'll give it a shot. I'm going to say 10, just based on how this seed has gone so far.
Our tracker's being really optimistic and saying 0. Well, that ruled out 10 right there. We've seen too many energy balls. And actually, it's now impossible to have more than 3.
Yeah, that first hit of every cycle is going to be an energy ball here.
Wow, it really was 0. I haven't seen 0 in forever. So congrats to Werfjig, our tracker, for actually somehow intuiting that. And oh, sure, there's the 300 rupees that they couldn't seem to get anywhere in the light world.
That's where they put them.
But yeah, grab them now so you'll have Kiki money.
Well,
also,
Zero...
one thing about...
Go ahead.
I was going to say go ahead.
I was going to say that Zero is taking the north path and has the option to do catfish or hook across. He's going to hook across to head towards the Village of Outcast area.
Yeah, I was just going to say that one thing that hopefully our runners remember so that they use it to their advantage and not against them, since they've now beaten Aga while holding the mirror, anytime they save and quit in the Dark World, they will respawn on the pyramid.
That's right. If you have beaten Aga and have the mirror and save and quit in the Dark World, that's where you'll end up. So if you do need to head to the Light World, be sure to mirror first and then save and quit.
Well, so much for my Graveyard Ledge guess.
Hey, it's always a good guess.
Oh, and Fatboy's gonna show us catfish. And this is an example of that save and quit ability could come in handy because I think it's faster to save and quit from catfish than to walk all the way back.
Yeah, without the boots, I'm sure it is. We'll get a bumper ledge check up here.
Ooh, Master Sword.
Now here's where it starts to open up.
Yeah, and what do you know? We actually have the cape.
So Catfish had an ether medallion. They're going to need at least one of those medallions. It could be ether.
Yeah, about a 1 in 3 chance it's important since we only definitely need one medallion dungeon. Oh, and Fatboy is walking all the way back and trying to speed things up a little bit with the hook shot. Now, Skullwoods only has 2 items and a heck of a lot of keys.
And there's one. It's a heart container, which I'll gladly take any day.
And with Green Pendant Thieves, I'm sure the runners will at least check the front of Thieves, and then they have to figure out whether they want to do the back.
And that's actually not a bad play. Given they have the mirror, you can do the first 4 very quickly, and then make that decision, mirror out if you want to. Ooh.
We had the same reaction.
So Skullwoods was certainly the play to make early on because you get a bow, and I'm going to need that bow for both Palace of Darkness and Eastern Palace when they make their way back over there.
Right, that now puts Armos Knights in logic. It also puts the entirety of Pod except for Helmasaur in logic.
I think we're just so starved for items that a bow elicited such a reaction from both of us.
Didn't actually see what C-shaped house had, though.
Our tracker informing us that we had mitts in C-shaped house.
Oh, that was an important one.
So going from nothing in the light world to item after item in the dark world. At this point, you've got a lot of options. Having those mitts, having a bow.
And the all-important fire shield in the brewery. Hey, there's our fetch quest. And actually, we could even fake powder.
That's right. You don't necessarily need a hammer. You're right. You're right. You could mirror into that well.
Yeah, you just want to make sure that you've already done everything else you're planning on doing before you do that.
Fatboy picking up his mitts. Now, he went into Skullwoods briefly, but he didn't get his bow.
Seems kind of odd. It's relatively quick to check the front, even if the keys can be obnoxious.
Now, it could be bad. It may not be so bad, given we have progressive bows. There is another bow somewhere else in the world.
And he's going to need to go back into Skullwoods eventually. The question is, how long will it take to get the fire rod? I mean, I don't think it takes that much longer to dive the front of Skullwoods than it does to do the front of Thieves Town.
No, Skullwoods is a relatively quick dungeon. Another interesting play here, Zero Rush all the way into the back of Thieves Town. Fatboy mirroring out after finding that fourth chest.
And Zero Rush found our third bottle containing a fairy.
I suppose with the green pendant Thieves Town, you get an extra item out of it, really. So it's not a terribly bad play to go all the way through.
And with the bow and the mirror, you can combine a lot there. You can do Pod and Eastern and redeem the green pendant. But it's also worth noting that if Blindette doesn't have the key here, which she doesn't, the key is in the big chest, which means that logically speaking, the entire back of Thieves Town is considered hammer-locked. So nothing on blind or on the green pendant can lead to the hammer, or anything behind the hammer.
So we get our blind fight.
Sorry, I meant anything in front of the hammer.
Oh, I gotcha. Zero Rush getting those first two cycles of the script, hits the third very cleanly, and down goes blind.
There's our beautiful green pendant while Fatboy rescues Jeremiah.
Yeah, lots of good checks incoming. We'll get Smiths. We won't get the hammer peg just yet. We could get the purple chest, K45, dig game. A lot of good checks coming here.
Not much on the Smiths.
Now, Fatboy taking that purple chest. With the purple chest, he has a follower. He's not going to be able to do the dig game just yet.
Wasn't Fatboy the one who already did the dig game, or was that Zero Rush?
I got to admit, I didn't see either one do the dig game.
Yeah, chat confirming it was Fatboy who did the dig game, so he's fine there.
All right, thank you, chat.
Whereas Zero Rush is in this awkward position of he can't take the purple chest, or he couldn't do the dig game, so now he's going to do the dig game and then go back for the purple chest. What's Stumpy got for us today? More junk. Oh, and with the Master Sword and the book, we can also see what Bombo's tablet has.
That's right. Now's the perfect time to check it if you're going to take purple chest all the way here. Mirror over to the Bombos tablet and see what's going on. Well, speaking of Bamos.
Does that make it French vanilla bombos?
Yeah,
Ooh,
where would French
Fatboy is
vanilla
not
Bamos?
thinking about that. He was right there. That would have been the perfect time to check bombos. Oh, I guess he heard me.
Yeah, he heard you. He's going back for it.
Through the time warp, since remember, this is all under 20-minute delay.
No, I wonder if French vanilla Bombos would be Bombos on Ether tablet.
Ooh, bacon.
Bacon, bacon. Tempered Sword's always a good find.
Yeah, I'd say that was a worthwhile detour. And Zero Rush giving us a look at Hype Cave.
Well, there's a flute and some red mail. I'd say that's a solid 5.
I mean, the flute's a required item, the red mail's nice to have, everything else is junk. I'd probably give it a 3 or 4 just because there's still so much junk in there.
Zero Rush also going over to the Bamos tablet. Won't get his Bamos medallion off of the purple chest from Gary, but we'll get that Tempered Sword.
And with that flute, we will soon enough find out. Bombos and Ether, what are we going to need to get into Misery Mire? And notice that Fatboy saved and quit in the Dark World. Right again.
Both of them intent on activating their flute before they do anything else, just to make the seed a little bit more quick.
Looks like Zero Rush wants a portal nearby so that he can do Purple Chest as soon as he gets the flute.
Not a bad call. He did skip it the first time.
So do we think Fatboy's going to go to the Mire area? Yup.
Yep, having Kane and having Mitts, you're going to want to go check out the Mire area. If it's one of these two medallions, you just go right into it. I did not get a check on the medallion.
Nor did I, unfortunately. And
But
there's Hammer.
I did see that hammer in the Mire shed, so that's a great one. And Zero Rush, not having the hammer is not going to be stopped from doing the Magic Bat. Not having the powder, not going to be stopped from doing Magic Bat. He's going to fake powder.
And not much for his trouble there. Okay, the fact that Fatboy's going back leads me to believe he can open Mire.
It's Bamos.
Which Zero Rush just picked up.
Zero Rush just picked it up, so he's on his way to the Mire area too, just in time to pick up that Bamos.
So we are now also able to full clear Pod and Eastern, or at least Zero Rush is. Fatboy still needs to go back for his bow.
Zero
And
Rush
that-
giving us the checkerboard cave check too. Oh, we did see that on Fatboy's side. That was only rupees.
I was gonna say, we are now Boots and Fire Rod from Go mode. Or at least No mode, depending who picks them up.
So Zero Rush did a fake powder and then used that mushroom later on to find out that potion shop is just 20 rupees.
And he knows he can full clear the entire Eastern Pod area, so we will get to see potentially 5 items in Pod, the item on Armos, and the item on Sahasrahla. And having found the hammer, Sahasrahla is now back in Logic, too.
Yeah, that's weird to think about, but the way you explained it earlier, Thieves Town actually being hammerlocked, you don't quite always think of it that way, the way the keys are normally used.
But the game logic assumes you use keys in the dumbest way possible. And for all that, just a piece of heart.
Womp womp.
Have we seen any items in Mire yet?
I don't believe so. So a question in chat, what are the rule sets for the tourney? This is right now the group stage. It's going to be a best of 3, and there are 3 rounds of the group stage. After that, it will go on to bracket. Group stage is going to be double elimination, and then the bracket stage will also be best of 3 per series.
So if we really haven't seen any items, then the 2 items in Mire must be on Vitreous and Vanilla Big Key Chest.
Yeah, and having that big key, he's going to go for Vitreous. Might as well. He's guaranteed a crystal. If he has to come back for that cutscene chest, he just may.
For a moment I was thinking, I wonder if Fatboy knows Spooky Action Glitch, and then I realized he doesn't have the Fire Rod.
I was thinking the same thing, actually, and realized no Fire Rod. Spooky Action's always fun to see.
So what's this long-awaited item on Armos?
More money.
That
It's
would have been
amazing
nice
we're
if we
finding
could
all
have.
the money now.
Yeah, if we could have gotten that before Zora.
If anyone's joining us late, you should maybe count yourself a little bit lucky. There was a period of about 5 minutes we had to farm for rupees as we were gated at progression on Zora.
And neither runner had even 300 rupees, so they were farming over 200.
You came in at the right time. Here's where all the action is. All the items, all the bosses.
And our favorite game of ping pong here.
Ooh, picking up a butter sword.
Well, that'll definitely be nice when we get to Cold Stare. Speaking of which, with Fatboy not having the bow, I wonder if that's his next stop.
Yeah, he did miss his bow in Skull Woods, so it's gonna probably take him a little bit to get back to the eastern area.
He's also orphaning the item in cutscene chest. Let's hope that's not important.
Let's hope that wasn't the second bow.
Or, you know, the fire rod.
Or the boots. Actually, chat pointing out that we found a heart container in Mire. So it looks like we had
I missed. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the heart container. And while I was reading chat on that, I totally missed what Compass Chest and Ice Palace had.
That was just a key. So that first chest was just a key.
Hey, so there's a chance that Ice Palace isn't hookshot locked. Not that we care.
Not that we totally care. It does make it a bit faster. Fatboy not doing the bomb jump.
I mean, he has the Cane of Samaria and he's planning a full clear, so it doesn't really save you that much time.
That's
if you
true.
don't have the Cane of Samaria, that's another issue entirely.
Yeah, no cane, and he's not planning on go moding this, so he will be checking just about everything anyway.
And there's our big key on Harmless Hellway. So far, we've just seen some money and ice. And Pod hasn't really given us anything either.
Yeah, both dungeons turning up empty. Oh, except for some more money.
These players are going to be so rich by the end of the seed because they'll have nothing to spend their money on unless they want a lot of blue potions. Okay, he is dropping down. I was going to say, not having done the bomb jump, it's somewhat faster to check the big chest now and then go around to Ice Tea Room.
Just a map, however.
Because you can just walk right through here.
All right, well, we're about to see two boss fights almost simultaneously, Helmasaur and Cold Stare.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but under the circumstances, Cold Stare should be the easier one. Well, Helmasaur was pretty fast.
Yeah, Helmasaur, no trouble for Zero Rush. He's going to get his third crystal. And a few bombs.
So, while Zero Rush did come out of the area with 2 more crystals than he entered it with, he got no progression in terms of items.
No, we're still missing a fire rod. We're still missing our boots.
And Fatboy recovers from not being able to hit Cold Stare while it was all clumped. Gets another worthless big 20. Now we get to watch Zero Rush full clear Ice Palace and discover that there's nothing in there, but at least he'll get a crystal.
Wonder if Fatboy is going to bank on progression being somewhere in Pod. Not always a bad gamble. It has 5 items.
So what do we have left at this point? Basically Dark Death Mountain and Swamp?
Yeah, definitely. We could do Dark Death Mountain. And Swamp Palace is in logic. We have Mirror Hammer and Hookshot. Fatboy, though, headed into the Dark World, probably going to finish the rest of Skull Woods here and pick up that bow.
While the runners are covering each other's previously trodden ground, this is a good time to say please follow them. Really, anyone who's made it to this point in the tournament is a really good player. They didn't get here by accident. And yeah, they're putting on a good show for us tonight and being remarkably patient given what this seed has thrown at them.
Absolutely. Give these guys a follow. And also shout out to our tracker, Werfjig. Thank you for doing all the hard work for us.
So I think Fatboy might have the slight lead here for not having done the back of Thieves Town all told, because Zero Rush is full clearing ice, and then he'll have to do Mire, while Fatboy just has to run to the back of Eastern and then clear Pod.
Yeah, that sounds fair. I suppose he is about half a Thieves Town, maybe ahead, if you want to call it that.
Let's hope he doesn't decide to go back in there. Because there was a qualifying race where there were 3 items left in the back of Thieves Town, Pendant Thieves Town, and one of them turned out to be quite important.
I think I was part of that, and I was pretty upset when I figured that out. You just never know, especially with a Pendant Thieves Town. In terms of item density, though, they've got 2 halfway decent options. You know, they could do maybe Swamp minus left side Swamp, or they could do Dark Death Mountain after both of these runners are done with their respective dungeons.
Given the flute, I'd say Dark Death Mountain is the more palatable. And just pray that Turtle Rock is Quake so you don't have to think about whether you want to dip it.
Ooh. Well, not having the Fire Rod, that at least eliminates 2 checks, even if they did go into it.
And it also makes it highly likely that you'll get locked out pretty quickly.
Right. So it may not be too terrible to even check it out if you are in that situation. Although it hurts. It hurts to go in there.
And given the right key layout, you can really go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, Zero Rush. 1 screen away from Cold Stare. Quick cast of Vamos. Frees him from his ice prison. Now he has the Tempered Sword, so it's going to be slightly longer of a fight, but still, probably no problem.
But he did get off that hit when the 3 puffs were all together, so that helps a lot.
Yeah, he bullied 2 of them into a corner, had a few quick hits, picks up his big 20, picks up his next crystal. Wonder where he's going to head to. Now, he does have everything to clear Mire, which Fatboy has already done.
Yeah, I'm thinking Mire's the next logical play. Because there's also Mire Shed and Checkerboard Cave, though. Oh no, he's going to Dark Death Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he figures slightly more checks here. I mean, Mire plus Mire Shed plus Checkerboard is 5 items. Dark Death Mountain, if you include Spike Cave, is 7 items.
Well, I'll take 2 of those away because he did do Mire Shed to get that hammer.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yes, it would be difficult for him to have finished Pod otherwise.
Still, diving a crystal dungeon is almost always the right play. This, though, is going to give him some new territory.
Also, I realized we haven't seen hammer pegs yet because the runners had otherwise finished Village of Outcasts before they got the hammer.
Uh-oh, there was an ice rod.
Yeah. Still worth nothing without the fire rod. But if we do get the fire rod, that then makes Boots on Pet a possibility. Yay, fourth bottle.
Okay, now we'll see what the medallion's going to be. And Zero Rush only has Bamos. Today it's Ether, which Fatboy does have.
That was on Catfish, as you may recall. So it could be a while before Zero Rush gets it, and who knows whether there's anything in Turtle Rock.
And our trip through the spikes is going to lead us to one more item. Just another big 20.
So, yeah, what we have now is Hammerpeg, Swamp, and the first chest in Turtle Rock are the things we can get it that we haven't seen.
Well, we'll have to wait at least for a little bit. Zero Rush is going to get into Misery Mire, having that Bamos medallion.
And it only takes 2 swipes on Helmasaur with the Butter Sword.
So there's Fatboy's third crystal, fourth crystal, excuse me. So that'll be his fourth crystal. He'll go to Eastern, pick up his fifth very quickly. Having already done most of the dungeon, just needs to get back to Armos.
And soon enough, both of our runners will have 5 crystals and purely be searching for those boots in that fire rod.
Now, Fatboy does have the Ether Medallion, so if and when he does decide to go up to Dark Death Mountain, if he's not already in go mode, he could very well check a few chests in Turtle Rock.
Now, as I recall, Meyer Big Key was in the map chest, so I wonder if Zero Rush will go through the cutscene, because a lot of runners will do the cutscene before they check the map chest.
There's our piece of heart being the second item.
Yep, Zero Rush is going for that cutscene, so that's going to cost him a bit.
Yeah, you and I have the advantage of omniscience here, seeing everything that the other runner has done. Unfortunately, Zero Rush just taking a gamble on that cutscene chest.
Well, I kind of liked Fatboy's play to map chess precisely because most runners don't do that. Fatboy having some trouble with Armos Knights here.
Gonna have to be very mindful of his bow count. Still gets him down.
So where is Fatboy off to?
To the Dark Death Fountain. So we're gonna see him wind up with not a whole lot more.
Well, the only question up here is, does he dip Turtle Rock?
Absolutely. It's either Turtle Rock or Swamp Palace at this point.
Or Hammer Pegs?
Or Hammer Pegs.
Though if Hammer Pegs have Fire Rod, it's still either Turtle Rock or Swamp Palace.
Now, question in chat, has there been a ped check? There has not yet been a ped check. And realistically, the only useful thing that could be on there is the boots, which are required for Desert Palace being boots locked. Fatboy about to get his ice rod. Now, having ether and having that ice rod might take that as a small signal to go into TR.
And then you get the awkward question of, well, if that first chest is Fire Rod, do you full clear Turtle Rock? So I guess Fatboy checked Turtle Rock Medallion first so that he could figure, well, if it's not something, if it's Quake, then I can just go over to Spike Cave afterwards. But now that he knows that it's Ether, I assume he's going to double back to DR.
So chat has an interesting idea. Ganon tells you where the silver arrows are, but their suggestion is, could Trinex tell you where the ice rod is? Now, it's not a terrible idea. A more vanilla-like idea would be that Sarhasrala would tell you where the ice rod is, because he does that after you turn in the green pendant. And, of course, acquire the boots. He will tell you to go to the southeast and to the ice rod cave.
I didn't even remember that's what he does in the vanilla game. So now we get to find out whether Zero Rush skipping Catfish is going to cost him. Time to go down the rabbit hole.
I think we've got 2 rabbit holes to go down. And 5 items in Swamp Palace. 6 items in Swamp Palace, 5 items here in Turtle Rock. No Fire Rod to get those 2 chests on the right of Turtle Rock.
6 in Turtle Rock if you count Mimic Cave.
Indeed, Mimic Cave is also a viable option for any of these items. But here's hammer pegs.
And we're locked out of Turtle Rock.
It was worth a shot. I don't blame Fatboy for trying.
And there you have it, our progressions in Swamp. And here I was at the outset saying, wouldn't it be cool if this wound up in an early Pyramid Fairy check, but no, Pyramid Fairy is almost certainly ruled out.
Almost. So you could still get Boots in Turtle Rock. I'm sorry, Boots in Swamp Palace, and then Fire Rod in Pyramid Fairy.
You could. Just like Ped's not completely ruled out either if we find the Fire Rod here. But they both seem pretty unlikely.
The interesting thing here is who goes to left side swamp first? One of these runners might actually just head straight to Argus and pick up the chests along the way. And the other may end up going to left side swamp, picking up those other two chests.
And on some level, you improvise based on how many dungeon items you see.
Remind me, did we get a lumberjack check?
No, they never did because neither checked at the beginning and then they both decided to wait for the boots. So Fire Rod could be on Lumberjack if we get the boots here.
So many possibilities, and I'm anxious to see what actually shakes out of this.
The funny thing is, since they've already beaten Aga, Lumberjack is no more of a pain than Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb.
Yep, just one more bonk. There's our second boomerang.
Not really gonna do much for us. So both runners are saying, well, we haven't seen any dungeon items yet. Let's hope that the dungeon items are all left side and go straight back.
Well, Quake and a big key.
The completely useless Quake. Fatboy's a bit lost. Ooh, there was the Fire Rod.
Ah, in the waterfall chest.
And Fatboy, oh, he decided to just check the big key. He got the blue cane.
So that fire rod opens up Skullwoods for us and opens up the rest of TR. It's a matter of where the boots are. At least we know Aga, Lumberjack Ledge, is dead. The only real possibility there would have been the fire rod.
Yeah, we're in boots go mode now. You don't see that too often, though it sometimes happens. And we get our final item on Argus, and left side is just dungeon items, so both runners can safely skip it. So now I'm thinking, you finish Skullwoods because you have to go there anyway, and then you check Ped while you're in the neighborhood. Oh, Zerorush is going back in. Presumably he'll check the big chest, realize that's the final item, and then not do left side. So it was actually to Fatboy's advantage that he backtracked and did the big chest when he could.
Yeah, they're gonna leave Swamp Palace at just about the same time. This is incredibly close. I can't get over how close these runners have been.
Well, they haven't had that much leeway. Sure, they diverged a bit, but eventually they ran sufficiently low on locations.
Yeah, they've both been kind of tunneled into one way or the other. Now, Ether is what opens up Turtle Rock, which Zerorush doesn't have. He has not checked Catfish to get that.
And where is he going now?
He may not have done Ice Rod Cave.
I thought we discussed that Zerorush did Ice Rod Cave early. Or no, he's doing this whirlpool to get up to Catfish. I forget that whirlpool's there because you don't see it very often.
Very smart routing to get up to Catfish that quickly. Okay, so that'll be his ticket into Turtle Rock, where if it's not a Ped Seed, it's Turtle Rock. So you're going into Turtle Rock one way or another.
Yeah, neither runner has checked everything else, but between the two of them, they've checked everything else, so we know it's either Ped or Turtle Rock. Oh, and Zerorush is going straight there, not even gonna check Ped.
I think he realizes that he's going to have to do it one way or another. He'll either run into the boots, or he'll get that pendant and know for a fact that it's on Ped.
Has he literally last location Turtle Rock?
I think the only major divergence we've seen is that Fatboy did not do the back of Thieves Town. Other than that, I think everything else between these two runners has been checked. And Zerorush, I think, is, only has Turtle Rock left.
Only one of them did hammer pegs.
I believe that was Zero.
Okay. So it's Fatboy who has some uncertainty here.
But we'll get our Ped check.
Get your Ped hype going. It's in Turtle Rock.
Boots, okay, have got to be in Turtle Rock then.
And Fatboy's got his whistle out. Now, Fatboy will have a slightly faster time when he gets to Turtle Rock just because he's already opened 2 chests. So, we'll see how much of the deficit that makes him up. And he's also beaten Skull Woods, which Zero Rush is going to have to go down and do afterwards. So Fatboy probably has a slight lead.
Yeah, I would definitely say advantage Fatboy here just because of that extra crystal.
Oh, and to chat, did you really expect Ped and Naga in the same seed?
I think these runners have been through enough without having to do PED 2. Although, it would not have surprised me if this was also a PED seed. So just how far into Turtle Rock would those boots be? We've got Lava Chest, Mimic Cave, Laser Bridge, Crystal Roller Room.
Well, we haven't actually seen any items yet.
Our first item is just the Mirror Shield.
Lovely French vanilla. Also interesting that we have not seen silvers yet, but those could be in GT. What do the mimics have for us today? Oh, he didn't do Mimic Cave, but the boots were there in the big chest, and at about 1:44:30, Zero Rush is in go mode.
Yeah, no problem not doing the mimics. He gets those boots. He is in go mode. Let's head to... For him, it's going to be Desert Palace. For both of these runners, it will be Desert Palace, actually. Oh, Zero Rush still has to do Skull Woods.
Yup. Now, it would be funny if silvers wind up being in Mimic Cave and Fatboy checks it. Nope, Fatboy's thinking the same thing.
Interesting. You know you're all the way up here. You know you just need the boots, and you're skipping a whole chest.
We'll have to ask them in interviews why they both decided to skip Mimic Cave and somehow intuited that Big Chest was the play. Fatboy's probably got about a minute lead. He stepped on the tile in desert at 1:46:10, so let's see what time Zero Rush flutes to 6 and steps on the tile.
Well, a quick Mothula fight and a quick flute away. That'll get Zero Rush right over to the desert area in no time.
And there's our big key, so we don't even need to do any more wandering around. Mirror right out. Okay, so Zero Rush is a minute 6 behind Fatboy.
So this could very easily come down to routing in Ganon's tower, maybe slightly execution up on the gauntlet.
And you never know, could take a Moldorm fall, could take a Ganon fall. So as far as I know, the bot still isn't working, but get ready to put in your GT big key guesses just for the fun of it. And no, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near 79. If it is, I quit.
Now, if you want to play along at home, guess a number 1 to 22. Winner will get, an E high five from me. I will touch my hand against the monitor, you touch your hand against yours, and we'll get a high five.
Crystal in the air at 1:48:35, so let's see if Zero Rush has made up time or lost time coming through here. That definitely made up some time.
Yeah, that was a very quick, clean Landmolus fight from Zero Rush, picking up his 7th crystal.
He is exactly a minute behind Fatboy now, so he made up 6 seconds. Fatboy realizing he needs to be in the Dark World. That's going to give Zero Rush a bit more made-up time. Okay, any last guesses get them in.
We'll get a quick check on the time difference once Fatboy enters Ganon's tower. Oh, I didn't guess. I'm going to guess 2.
I sure hope so. I'll do my usual 10 just because. It's rarely right, but every so often I get it. Okay.
So 150.48 was my count.
Yeah, 47:48.
Nothing in the first 2. He's going to go to the right side, it looks like.
This could affect things. Yeah, Zero Rush has definitely made up more time.
And, since Fatboy Fatboy300 entered first. We're going to use his number as the Ganon's Tower big key guessing game answer.
And I'm getting a 38-second difference now between the runners.
It's much different than 1 minute.
And Zero Rush is taking the same routing, so it's really going to come down to execution at this point.
A couple of quick quarter pieces of heart. Map and a compass. So there's a quick 6 down.
The health refill was nice. Okay, mirrored at 1:52:12. Let's see what time Zero Rush pulls out that mirror. Bob lives for another day. Down to about a 21-22 second difference. Zero Rush is really catching up.
The gap is closing just slowly and slowly.
Thank you, 7-8 time. This could come down to whoever beats Ganon first. The all-important Swagnet was there in chest number 10, so I guess I didn't get it.
Was that 10 or was that 11? Torch should have been counted.
Yeah, Torch was 7.
That's right. The small key was number 11.
Doing a brief high five at the bottom of that room. Ooh, Fatboy having some trouble with that boomerang. And resorts to cane strats. Zero Rush now 1 room behind Fatboy.
And that was 153.46 versus 153, looked like 51.
We have ourselves a race.
Yeah, no doubt.
If this is the second tie I call in 2 days, that's gonna be too much. And there it is, chest number 16.
16. Let's see who we got.
And they're about 3 seconds apart, maybe.
16 looks like Omnius was the first to guess 16. So congratulations, Omnius. If you put your hand near your monitor, I'll give you an E-high five.
And yeah, I would agree with chat that overall, Zero's been executing better lately, just with the amount of time he's gaining, and he's actually past Fatboy now, so.
Yeah, any little movements that Zero Rush or Fatboy can do to widen or close in this gap, it's such minor things that this level of runner can do to really just kind of improve your time here.
And it could come down to something like Zero Rush decides to skip the upstairs chests, Fatboy opens them and finds silvers. Who knows? But yeah, Zero Rush now like 2 rooms ahead of Fatboy.
Another quick land Melissa kill. Yeah,
Ooh,
from this point on, it's going to be all Zero Rush, but he did make a little bit of an error out of that second Wizrobe room.
Yeah, but Fatboy's taking a few cycles on these Landmos. Well, we never did get powder, did we? So these runners are going to have to watch their health a bit.
Nope, no powder. And no half magic either.
Yeah, so Zero Rush skips those two chests, so let's see if Fatboy takes them and tries to gamble on whether one of them might hold silvers. Well, that was a fast Moldorm, too.
Quick and easy. Nothing in the last chest.
Which is going to cost him... Oh, he only checked that one. Well, I guess Ganon will tell us where silvers were. And Zero Rush is on the Geometry Wars.
2 doubles so far for Zero Rush. And a triple.
Yeah, just responding to chat, there was actually a patch that went out in the middle of last month that now makes it so that the game checks which bow you found and tells you where the other one was.
Alright, so Zero Rush landed into Ganon at 159.15. And with his Butter Sword and Red Mail, I don't really foresee a problem with him finishing this off quickly.
Yeah, and he gets to be a spicy barbacoa burrito, which is my favorite Ganon line.
Very quickly onto Phase 3.
Yeah, nice and easy with Butter Sword. Ooh, Fatboy didn't quite get the triple off there, but they're all nice and lined up now. And down goes Aga. So he's probably a solid minute behind now.
I would say. Quite a change. Going into Ganon's tower, it was about 30 seconds in Fatboy's favor. In the Light World, do you think they could have been in Mimic's Cave?
Yeah, I think that's probably the only place they could have been. I can't think of anywhere else. Wait, no, Mimic Cave is Death Mountain. Where didn't they check in the Light World?
So there's a couple of places. I don't think that, so they don't have a shovel. Could have been Dig Spot.
Right.
Zero Rush is going to have to watch his magic. Oh no, he has a potion. He'll be okay.
Yeah, I think 2 of those bottles came with green goo, and I don't remember either runner drinking any. But yeah, Zero Rush must be getting close with those spin slashes.
Takes him down. Last hit. So get your GGs in chat for Zero Rush. Crosses the bridge. Zero Rush here finishes at a time of 2:01:48.
And Fatboy's already well along in phase 4 now. That must be like 4 or 5 spins at this point.
God, such a close race to come down to simultaneous Ganon fights after all these runners have been through.
Also of note, Fatboy got the torch glitch and Zero Rush did not. We've got to be getting close here. There we are.
All
So,
right,
yes.
GG's in chat for Fatboy. Finished with a time of 2:03:08.
So 1:20 in the end. Zero Rush made up almost 2.5 minutes between when they started Desert and when they finished. And let's see if we can't get them in here. We are joined by Zero Rush, GG.
Hello, hello. Good games.
Yeah,
GG to you.
so how about those rupees? You want to bring a spare collection into your next match?
I don't know. That's pretty dumb. That seeds like that are so incredibly rare. I think this is only like the 3rd time this has ever happened to me personally, and it's super, super boring. Like, it's nice that it's your opponent has to do it too, so it's not that big of a deal. But it just makes you have to sit there and farm for 5 minutes, so it was super annoying. But other than that, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. I'm just annoyed that I started going to the desert rupee cave and then remembered that I don't have a glove, which is why I couldn't farm them in the first place.
And we also have Fatboy in here, GG.
GG.
Hey.
We were discussing rupee farming, as you may have noticed when you came in.
Yeah, we talked a little bit in IRC. It sounds like we were both doing the blind shot farm.
You guys were pretty well synchronized on that, actually.
That's hilarious. I'll have to go back and watch the VOD on that.
Yeah.
The early game for this seed was just terrible, and then it was so depressing after it finished. But so I turned on the stream and just saw him like, oh hey, I'm actually in the lead. And I'm just like, yep, this lead's just slowly gonna tick away because I know my execution's not anywhere near what Zero Rush's is. So I knew it was gonna have to be good plays on my part to have a chance, which I made some good plays, but the execution wasn't there tonight.
It was
Yeah.
close between both of you guys through almost this whole seed. Obviously, you got pinched into one spot in the light world, but even in the dark world, you just weaved in and out of each other's paths and met back up several times. You were within 30 seconds of each other at Ganon Tower. It was a great race to see.
Yeah, I think I got saved by Turtle Rock being fire rod locked, because Catfish was like my last check, and I would have 100% gone into Turtle Rock while it was up there the first time if I could have, and I imagine that's probably what Fatboy did.
It didn't cost that much because there were only two chests you could open before you got stuck by the fire rod lock.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if it wasn't fire rod locked, and he had the ether way before me, he would have gotten the boots probably really early. I have to imagine he probably went up and checked Dark Death Mountain before running like all the pendants and maybe like Misery Mire or something. I'd have to rewatch it, but
I did Dark Death Mountain before I did. I didn't touch any of the back of Thieves Town. What was her other pendant? Yeah, swamp. I almost did swamp before going up to Dark Death Mountain, but I've just had so many seeds lately that normally I'd make the gamble into swamp before hitting Dark Death Mountain, especially when like Turtle Rock, no fire rod sort of situation. But I'm like, I've seen so many seeds where Dark Death Mountain has like exactly what I need, so I'm like, well, let's go check that and hope the items there. And then I did dip into Turtle Rock the first time up to Dark Death Mountain, but since the big key was in Chain Chomps, had couldn't progress. So if I would have stuck to my like normal route, then yeah, it might have cost me a trip up Death Mountain, which is could have swung it back into my favor, but it's neither here or there.
As I say, I don't think that was super costly because then your second time through Turtle Rock, you didn't have to go to that to the compass chest or deal
That's
with
fair.
pushing the blocks around the chain jumps.
Yeah, that's fair. So, yeah, and I mean by that time at the end of the seed, after 2 hours or close to 2 hours, my brain's just fried to execution. I could tell I was just falling off a cliff for myself, and I'm just like, yep, this is how it's gonna go. Which I knew going into it, it was gonna have to. My execution was gonna have to be top tier to compete with Zero Rush, because I mean he's one of the names I know from watching previous tournaments, sort of. So.
Well, I mean, last year you were in the Challenge Cup. This time you're in the full randomizer tournament. So you've definitely been working your way up over the last year.
Well, and I would have been top 64 had I not raced. I did a 6th seed thinking I wasn't going to make top 64 because it was coming close. I did another one and it wasn't a good seed for me, so my score got bumped down a little bit, which I mean it's my own fault, no excuses, but that's what I get.
Whereas it looks like Zero Rush's average got lifted up a bit by his extra couple of races.
Yeah, I had a really bad qualifier, and then my obs crashed and took my recording with it. For the there was one of the qualifiers I won by quite a lot, but during the credits my obs crashed, and so I didn't have a recording, so I had to forfeit that one, which counted as my worst. And so I had to try and bring that average back up because one of mine was like a 87 or something, but couldn't get it into the top 32, unfortunately. So I ended up, I think 40 something like that.
Yeah, I think my score ended, well, it would have ended up at like an 88.04, which I think would have put me right in 64th after everything was said and done. But I decided to gamble. I'm like, well, let's just do one more race. If I do awesome, then great. If not, then I mean third quartile's not gonna be too bad unless if you get paired into a group with Zero Rush and Andy as your 1-2.
Well, Fatboy, you do have the chance to change the settings for the next race. Have you thought about that at all yet?
Yeah, I did actually think about it in our little bit of downtime after finishing, and I decided since GT is what cost me, well, I mean, in theory, what cost me the lead at the end, I'm going to change it to Fast Ganon for our next race.
That's a pretty good recipe for not having a 2-hour seed.
And not having to do GT, because it'll still be 7-7, so I'm just going to take GT out of the equation.
Until all 4 swords are in Ganon's tower.
And you be quiet.
Wow, look at your...
We had our terrible seed for the matchup. The next one's just going to be a jet seed.
Yeah, this will probably be one of the worst of the entire tournament. Honestly, just 5 minutes of farming rubies and blindside alone. Like, it's been a really long time since I've had a light world take more than 40 minutes.
Yeah, I've never been in that situation before where I just need money and don't have gloves and already have the flippers, so can't do Houlihan. I guess I was in CAC already, so I decided, well, it's like Blind Hut's right here. That seems like that's probably going to be the best option, but had no, thinking in my back of the head, like, there's probably something else that I could have done that would have been better, but apparently I made the right call.
Yeah, that's the best spot as far as I know. You could do well too, but that's a lot of screen transitions.
Yeah, and I was thinking about well since it's right there as well, but nah, let's just get the 30 for each time we go in and out.
Yeah. The only other thing I think we could have done is I did Eastern pretty early, but if we knew we might be in a situation where we need to go to to Sora, probably would have grabbed the Ruby Room in Eastern, which has like
I want to say it has like 90.
90, yeah, like 90.
But I think it's two groups of 3x3 in there.
Yeah,
90.
Which would have saved a little bit of time.
It would have saved, yeah, a couple 3 trips in and out. So.
I was just remembering one slight routing divergence since you were talking about like dungeons. This one actually worked to Fatboy's advantage when you guys were doing Swamp at basically the same time. Fatboy got the big key, went back for the cane of what turned out to be the cane of Burna. Zerorush, you finished Swamp and then went back in, which was a little bit slower as it turned out.
Oh, did he skip Argus?
No, I still well, full cleared except for left side. But when I found the big key in the flooded chest, I just walked back up those awful stairs that you have to.
Oh, okay.
Do twice, unless if you know how to do them the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. The difference between those two isn't that big. I want to say it's only a few seconds between going back in to the big chest and turning around for the big chest. But I might be thinking of when it's at the flooded chests rather than the waterfall room. I'm not 100% sure on that.
I'm sure it's pretty marginal either way, so one's been a big difference.
I don't think it made too much of a difference. Both of you left Swamp Palace at almost the same time, within a few seconds of each other.
Yeah. The Cosmic Brain one though, did you skip Mimic Cave and check big chest first? Nice.
I did.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you guys, like, you both skipped Mimic Cave and somehow decided that big chest was the solution.
So it's not that we were skipping Mimic Cave, it's that it's much, much faster to check the big chest than it is to check Mimic Cave. And if you're only looking for one item, then you can save like 20 seconds if you just check the big chest first, and it's there.
Exactly.
I've had that work out in my favor a number of times already, actually. It's pretty good.
That's the first time it's worked out in my favor like that, but I haven't had nearly as many races as I probably had, so. But I felt happy just to like, oh hey, that actually like worked out for me for once.
Definitely one of the highlights.
Well, it's now 12:30 on the East Coast, so we should probably be wrapping up here. Any final thoughts from our runners?
I'm looking forward to our second race. I think we decided for Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. There'll be 7 Fast Ganon. Forward to that. Hopefully, maybe it gets restreamed. If not, I understand. So we got this one restreamed. But thank you to everybody who was involved in getting this one restreamed. It's always fun to be featured on gaming.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks for commentating and watching, everyone, and tracking as well.
And thanks again to our runners. And there are a ton of matches coming up. You can see the link there to the schedule in chat. So definitely check out that schedule. It'll also tell you which races are being restreamed, what channel they're being restreamed on. On that note, please do give the whole family of Speed Gaming channels 1 through 6 a follow. We're also starting to do some restreaming on the ALTTP Randomizer family of channels, so do follow those as well. They're numbered 1 through 5. Yeah, we've got a ton of matches through the group stage, somewhere between 128 and 192 this week, depending how many series go to a third game.
Yeah, we're just getting started here.
And yeah, thanks again to our tracker Worfjig, who was definitely on top of things, especially as we were having some technical difficulties behind the scenes early on. You really stayed on top of stuff and helped us comms remember what was going on. And thank you to my co-comm Lumaga. It was great working with you.
And same with you, Drossi. Thank you for working well with me.
And
I think that's about it for us. There is still one game for tonight. If you go to Speed Gaming 4, we have Ganon's Gone Wild versus Apathy Duck, their first game of their series. Go to Speed Gaming 4, give them your support.
And then we're right underway again at 1:15 tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
But yeah, enjoy that Speed Gaming 4 game, and other than that, have a great evening.